AITA for refusing to reconnect with my in-laws after they ignored my daughter's cancer battle. I, 35F, have been married to my husband, 40M, for 12 years. We had two beautiful children together, our oldest daughter and our younger son. Our life was fairly normal until 2 years ago when our daughter started experiencing unusual intermittent leg pain. The episodes were spaced out and hard to track. We took her to several doctors, but no one could determine the cause. For over a year, we were left with vague answers and growing concern. Eventually, after 14 agonizing months, we were blindsided when doctors discovered a tumor in her abdomen. We were terrified, confused, and devastated. My instincts went into full protective mode. During this difficult time, I isolated emotionally, only letting my husband and my mother, who drove 8 hours to support us. I needed stability and people who were fully present for us. My husband asked his parents to come support him during this time, but they refused. The reason? They had to babysit his sister's children, even though his sister lived just 25 minutes away from us, and they lived 5 hours away. I didn't hold it against them at the time, thinking they'd come around when things became more serious. At first, the tumor was believed to be benign. Surgery was scheduled 2 months out. We hoped for the best and tried to stay calm. Meanwhile, the summer passed with minimal contact from my in-laws. They were always too busy watching my sister-in-law's kids, and they never made the trip to see ours. When the surgery finally happened, my mother returned once again. The surgeons removed what they could, only 60% of the tumor, and informed us that it looked malignant. Days later, our worst fears were confirmed. It was cancer. Our daughter began an intense, aggressive treatment plan that included 5 rounds of chemo, 2 stem cell rescues, and 6 cycles of immunotherapy. We implemented strict safety protocols to protect her. She had a central line, meaning any infection could be deadly. We asked my in-laws to follow precautions like wearing a mask if they visited. My Miles said she couldn't handle wearing a mask for 8 hours, so she didn't come. We even tried to compromise, let them visit only our kids and skip seeing their other grandkids during that time to avoid virus exposure. They declined. We offered for them to split their visit, first part with our daughter, second with SGL's kids, but they again refused. They chose not to come at all. Throughout this, my daughter constantly cried about missing her grandparents. When the stem cell rescues began, our daughter had zero immune defense. Her immune system was completely wiped, and we were told to isolate her strictly. Only my mother and I were allowed to provide care during this time, and I was okay with that. My daughter needed to survive, and I wasn't taking any chances. After those treatments, our daughter was finally well enough to interact again, albeit carefully. I let my hopes rise, thinking surely her grandparents would visit now. But nothing. No visit. Not even a serious offer. Their absence was loud. They missed birthdays, milestones, and random Tuesdays when our daughter just wanted to see her grandma. Every time she asked, I had to tell her not today or they're busy. And every time, her little heart broke a bit more. It didn't help that she saw other kids with grandparents who came around. I started to realize this wasn't just a scheduling issue. It was a choice. They had the ability, the car, the time, and the knowledge that their granddaughter might not survive, and still they stayed away. The reason? It's not fair to the other grandkids. That's what they told my husband when he pleaded with them. They couldn't prioritize the dying child because the healthy ones might feel left out. I can't explain the depth of betrayal I began to feel, not just for myself, but on behalf of my daughter. For a few months, things looked stable. Our daughter laughed again, played a little, and even gained some weight back. But then she began having leg pain again. My stomach dropped. I knew. We all knew. Tests confirmed that the cancer had returned, and this time, it was everywhere. She was riddled with pain and declining fast. She asked again for grandma, over and over. I told my husband, and he called his parents. They only came once, and only because my sister-in-law said she wanted to see her daughter too. It felt like a social trip, not a visit of love or urgency. As the end neared, her condition worsened drastically. One day, the ICU doctor pulled me aside and told me we had very little time left. I made the hardest calls of my life, inviting everyone who loved her to say goodbye. And still, her grandparents did not come. She passed away in January. She was 6 years old. She fought so hard, and she was so brave. She asked for people who never showed up, and I had to hold that for her. I had to carry the heartbreak she couldn't understand. It has now been 5 months. I still wake up some days expecting her voice. The grief doesn't fade, it just dulls. But one thing that hasn't dulled is my anger and pain toward my in-laws. My husband wants me to move on, for the sake of our son, for him, for family unity. He tried speaking to his parents, but they only got defensive. They didn't apologize. They said we did what we could, and that we were there in spirit. I told my husband, I will not stop him or our son from having a relationship with them. That's his decision, but they're no longer welcome in my home. I will not invite them, talk to them, or acknowledge them in any part of my life. I've blocked them on everything. I'm not asking anyone else to cut ties. I'm simply choosing to protect myself from people who failed my daughter so thoroughly. My husband says I'm being unfair and cruel, that I'm punishing them and tearing the family apart. But from where I stand, they made their choices. I'm just making mine now. So, AITA?